have to make a confession. I haven't been completely honest about my family, honestly, because when you start to find things out, then you put things on the shelf until you've concluded. Stephen James Deshawn, he's my father. The devil. Yep, he's my father, the devil. That's him in the picture. He's up at the top. I'm the left-handed adder serpent. I was added into the mix. And Jonathan Kleck isn't really, doesn't really look the way that he does. Because he's like Mother Earth down here. Don't let the mask fool you. Don't let the voice fool you. Don't even let Stephen James Deshawn's angry look on his face fool you. Don't be afraid of their faces and what they say and whatever that verse is, because he's really your dad. Yep, he's my father, the devil. It took a while for me to figure it out. My earthly dad, he was just like a stepdad. I had two stepdads on earth. I was raised up in the king's palace the first 4 years of my life. I didn't want to say anything in the beginning because you weren't going to believe me anyway. And on top of that, I had to let my memory remind me of who my real family is. It's a really unusual thing to go through. You know, your dad attacking you your entire life from above, and then when you finally appear into his house, it's like I'm looking for my dad, right? I get this earthly father, but never really had much time to. It's not like he had anything to do, just besides sit there and drink the Bush beer and watch the news about World War III, nuclear war jumping off at any moment, frightening me when I'm like 15, 16, 17. I don't want to hear it. Now I'm 46, 47, 48. Now I want to hear it. 30 years later. World War III is on the brink of World War III. World War III. They've been saying that forever. Probably before they even announced World War II was World War II. I didn't spend much time with my earthly father because he was too wrapped up in the politics, and he never really wanted to go and play baseball too very often. And I loved when he would, but it was very short-lived and rarely ever. I do have a picture of him. We're at the baseball game when I was a holy terror, 12 years old. But other than that, because my parents were separated, obviously, from the time I was born, it was like the devil was looking to devour the child that the woman had the moment it was born. I mean, I was trained the first few years of my life to do what I'm doing now, and that's why it all is sinking in now, because I was literally programmed to do this. I don't remember where I heard stuff at, but I heard it there in my home before I was dropped off here. Because the truth is, the fact of the matter is this: don't you all have someone communicating to you in your ear? Is it not an AI? Because Stephen James isn't communicating in everybody's ear all at the same time. It's not literally him, you know, all the time. Just the main characters that are around me, I'm sure he can tap right in after the AI voice is tapping in everybody. Because here, have you people not died already? Have some of you not have some of you already been reskinned? A suit of skin? Have you not transformed from male to female? And that's why you're here in the valley of the shadow of death, where Stephen James DeShawn is. He's literally here. Lucifer really did come down to earth from heaven back in April of 2nd, 2017-ish, around there. Somewhere around there. The second crossing, the X. What's the X all about? Planet X? X Recorder, April 8th, 2024. You had it right the first time. You did. I know I had it right. And I know that Jonathan Kleck came along and confused me, but taught me very well. I was confused for a while, but I was definitely taught. And I believe that his job is to come up as the ram with the two horns, the twins on that channel, and cause all those to worship Stephen James DeShawn, whose deadly wound was healed, because he's the devil. He's literally the devil on earth. Isn't that something? And he's my dad. Dad. My dad. It's a very, very unusual way to be treated. I gotta give it to you, Pop. You know? Papa. Because what Jonathan Kleck has done, he explained who Stephen James DeShawn is through his actions of pointing at himself as he's getting everybody to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. Was that by design? Did it happen? Did these things happen by design, or did they happen and then the book was written about it and then it looked like it was designed, but it was really just like what I'm doing is what I've done for the past 7 years is I finally woke up from being in the wilderness for 40 years, and then I hopped into the house of DeShawn, and the moment I hopped in, you don't think he knew? The day I hopped in, the very day, 4/2/2017, that he didn't send his people my direction. I believe I was talking to him in the very beginning. It was one of my first commenters. Can't remember the name, but it was a commenter, and it was like a scribe that sounded like Stephen James. Kind of like Mark 18, Mod 0-ish. Like, you know, Mark of the Beast-ish, 18, 666. 0, the holy place, mod, the modular, the modifications of the holy place, 666, Mark, the mark of the beast, Mark 18, mod 0, remember, Mark? I remember you. Yeah, at times I didn't like your comments, and then other times, you know, I miss them. I miss the comments. I miss the I know all you guys have been attacking Jonathan Kleck now, and that's your job, to attack him, because y'all yins, Gene Revel channel, and all the commenters, Whoopsie McDoodle, and all you guys, Andrea, who knows everything apparently, yous all were over there and doing your business, doing exactly what you did to me to him, even though that part was all staged to come against Jonathan Kleck as the false prophet, because he's causing all those to worship the first beast, Stephen James, whose deadly wound was healed, and the dragon gave him his power. So the dragon. When I look at the dragon, I say, well, that's Satan himself. The spirit gave the power over to the beast and the false prophet. But there's also a dragon, you know, the person, the dragon himself, on the YouTube platform. He gives his power over to the beast and the false prophet. So when I look at Steve Benoon, at times I get mixed feelings, because I feel like there's also, everybody has a double, and at some point, you know, there's an evil spirit that still talks through you. Because when I watch some Steve Benoon's videos before I even showed up on YouTube, I can see the devil. At times I can also see Christ, so I'm seeing both. And I'm thinking, you know, in the beginning you think Satan is purely evil, and that's it. There's no good to him whatsoever. And God is good. He's good all the time. He's great, you know, and all that. But the truth of the matter is this, really, God is all in all and everything. Good, bad, dark, light, he creates it all. Why? For his own good pleasure. That's why. Because he feels like it. And that's why. Why do I do the things that I do? Because I feel like it. It's for my own good pleasure as well. If you don't like what I do, then, and you're watching, then pluck your eye out. If it offends you. If you don't like surveilling me through the internet with the mouse in your right hand, then cut your arm off. It's better for you to go into heaven and not be a gang-stalking, demonic gang-stalker than it is to burn in hell where your worm never dies. However, when you come back here to the valley of the shadow of death, Steve will tell you, you get reincarnated as a female, and then you come down here and you hunt the souls of men, which is their sperm, to make your pillows fly, which is the bee's nest inside of your host body that fills up the hollows. And if you don't get saved from lying about what you've done, it's not that you know, people need to understand this now that I know who's in charge of the whole entire planet. And everybody will see shortly coming up, because it'll happen. Everything will happen. And Philadelphia is where it's gonna, that's where it's all gonna manifest, and you're all gonna understand it clearer. You're just seeing signs and miracles and wonders from the beast, the false prophet, and the dragon, because they they go to the ends of the earth, to the kings of the earth, and perform these great miracles, signs, and wonders. Like helping me out in the art museum. What a miracle, sign, and wonder that is, huh? Some people still can't wrap their brain around it. But that's what gives me the authority to speak in this spiritual world, because I know it's true. And it doesn't even matter I don't care who's watching and doesn't believe it. Or even if I see you on a daily basis or once in a while, or you act like you don't watch my videos, but you're assigned to me, and I don't care, because you're going to see it. Stephen James wouldn't be hovering around my shoulder for the past 6 years and 6 months and 6 days before the bombs dropped on Israel since I started YouTube, if he was not in control of what happens down here on planet Earth. You know who he reminds me of? My dad, the Grim Reaper. Stephen James Deshawn to me is the Grim Reaper. You reap what you sow. It's his job to, you know, do the devil's work. It's necessary. You may not like it. There's times I didn't like it either. But I accept the reality of what things are. The devil is necessary in order to set up the worship music for God. That's what Lucifer's job is. He sets up the music. And the music is also symbolizes it's music to God's ears. Not just instruments and drums and guitars and stuff. However, he did that too. Because in the art museum on 3/23/2023, it proves itself out. It proves itself out. Stephen James had Jonathan Kleck speak for him. It's like the Moses and Aaron ordeal. And Steve Ben-Nun reminds me of between Abraham and Melchizedek. It's like they go hand in hand, really. And because the father of many nations would be the person that's completely in charge of not just the planet, but the YouTube platform. Like Stephen James is he runs it, right? I could be juxing positions here, but you know, the kings of the earth, regardless, you're all watching this video. You all have listened. And it's not that I get everything right. A lot of times I throw stuff up. It's see what sticks, because that's how I get my answers. And some people also may not like that that's how I get my answers, but yet that's how scripture gets fulfilled. How else are you supposed to know when you're left alone completely by yourself your entire life? Nobody's there to raise you. Nobody's there to guide you. Parents divided. Mom in her own world of you know, looking for love in all the wrong places. And Dad obsessed with World War III that never happened. Getting sucked into the media. At least me getting sucked into the media, I found my true family who does the will of God. The ones that are show me what the truth is, not trying to conceal the matter, like everybody on this planet who's controlled and is told to do a certain thing. When I walk by them, everywhere I go, every person, everywhere, I've experienced it. It's just a certain little tactic, and You know exactly what it is because you're told to do it. I don't have that voice in my ear. I don't have anybody talking. I don't hear voices. I don't have a command in my brain that tells me to do a certain thing because I'm not controlled by Satan. That's why his head was crushed. Thank you, God, the God in heaven, for allowing me, Robin Henry Tees, the person that's always been considered the weird, the weird guy over there, Robin. He's weird. Weird. Well, I'm weird because, I'm not actually from this planet. Did you know that? I figured that out. I'm not even from here. How can I be? I don't have that voice in my head telling me what to do. All of you do. And you know it's true. So when this pertains to you, and I'm telling you who I found, and you already know who your boss is, and I'm telling you that his head has been wounded and it's healed now. But I'm putting you between me and a hard place. Because it's a hard place to be between. Knowing that what I'm saying is true, but knowing also at the same time, all of you who are in surveillance listening to this, especially the ones from the beginning, the very beginning of the YouTube platform, like the Boldly in them, the Boldlies and the Derek from Glops of Truth and stuff. Even though you have other channels, but you know that what I'm saying is true, and you know who your boss is, and you know what you did back then and how you it was all collaborated, and Steve commanded everybody to do what they were doing. And as Satan, he entered into Judas, and Judas played his role. The Judases, they all played their role. They did their thing. They acted like they were friends. Yeah, buddy. I was going to let you go anyway. You didn't have to ransack the car in front of you just to cut in front of me. Nah, I really didn't know. I really didn't know anything about my family. I learned about my family because everybody is not like me. Not that I'm anything. It's just I don't feel like people have this conscious state of mind that thinks for themselves. That's what the difference is. I think things and they're my own thoughts. Now, programs are injected into our world. That way we can have thoughts that pop up in our head. And it's like, oh, it's not really who you are. And then all of you who are controlled in this shadow of death valley, especially those of you that already left your first estate, those of you that left heaven, came down here to mate with women, like my wife, for instance, having a child from a mighty man, the Nephilims. And then having children here on earth that look nothing like the mother or the father. And that's why it's like that. That's why people don't look like their mothers or fathers. Because that's not truly who they are. And same thing with me. I don't think I look like my brothers. There's a similarity, but you can look like your dad, but your dad could also just be your uncle. And your real dad is the one that has been gang stalking you your entire life, hovering over your shoulder. So it's safe to say that Stephen James Deshawn knew me my entire life. And now, after 47 years, it's time to prove that out. So let's see what he says. He already reminded everybody that he is Benjamin Netanyahu, the left-handed serpent adder, George Walker Bush, and Albert, Barack Obama, who gave me a shout out in Philly. But I was convinced that that's who Jonathan Kleck was. However, there was a time where I had thought, well, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. It's like, you're saying he's the Antichrist, but I don't know. It's like you don't seem as dark as you're portraying the spirit of Barack Obama to be. It kind of feels more like SJD over there. But he's been quiet about it, so he doesn't really say much. But then when he does say something, especially recently, everything just clicks quicker. It's like, okay, yeah, I was right the first time. You had it right the first time, Robin. You did. But although I could be wrong at the moment, saying I have it right and being confused, however, it's been going on for quite some time, and it just makes more sense this way. The woman's seed will crush the head of the serpent's seeds. So the woman's seed, just the child himself, will crush the head of the serpent. And Stephen James is saying that I am a left-handed added serpent? Just because, what? Just because my baby picture shows my left hand as literally a green serpent face? It's not even my real hand. Unless it was healed somehow, it was withered. Because my right hand is like a dark red pigment, and my left hand is green, and it's a serpent. But I'm not left-handed, I'm right-handed. My brother Billy's left-handed. And he does everything backwards. Everybody's possessed. It even says I'm a cursed family king, or cursed something or another. My family's cursed and I'm their king. That's what Steve said. So in my baby picture, am I even really there? Probably not. I'm more at that age, not even there with the family I was set in place with just yet, because I was only like a year old. It was more like the government agents that were hovering over my shoulder. That's where I was, being trained and raised up to be able to do what I'm doing here now. Maybe I was taught the Word of God. Maybe what happened is this. From the age of 0 to 4 years old, right before I was get on the boat, Boosh skinny boat, you bet. Right before that, I probably heard the Bible being read to me over 100 times. And that's why it was familiar, as if I've already experienced this before. Because once it starts happening, it's like, did I not already do this? And then now the Bible seems so simple. The stories in it, like, it's not hard to believe any of it anymore, because it's true. Even though it was only written about 150 years ago, and they made it seem like it was, you know, the gang stalkers couldn't prevent you from keeping the word, and it's like, oh, well, we have to hide these manuscripts, as if anybody can possibly hide from the eyes of the government who created us. It's so ridiculous. Just like the shooters at, oh, we have a shooter in Maine, May 7th in Maine? No, oh no, I'm sorry, up in Maine, and the shooter is still running loose, and we cannot find him. However, we know where Robin's gonna be before he gets there, because we gang stalk him. We proved that we know what he's gonna do before he even does it, so how can we possibly not find the shooter? That's how I know it's such bullshit. Ah, man. AI. The stories that AI makes up, it's just enough already. My goodness. The reason why I believe Isaac gave Jacob, Jonathan Kleck, the right to rule as Israel, because Stephen James was saying that Mystery Israel is in Michigan, as Esau was saying, but living in King Herod's road, but also washing his hands as Pilate, because the other Herod lives in the city there. He lives there. He's Pilate and Herod. It's because Mystery Israel, the birthright. Why did Steve say, sure, yeah, here, you can have my birth. Here, give me a bowl of chili, Jonathan Kleck. You can have my birthright. You can have my... You can act as if you're me, Satan, because I'm going to die soon anyway. Here, take it. That's why. Because he knew that he was going to be destroyed, because I showed up. And he sold his birthright to Jonathan Kleck, his brother, Jacob, Jacob. Because, you know, these are all conjectures, of course. I don't really know. I'm just throwing this out there, but it sounds good. I mean, it sounds ridiculous to even think that you know the characters in the Bible by name and they're your family members, but it's true. So at a certain time, everybody will know, and then it won't even be a big deal to you either, because you've already seen me, you've heard me for years, and you know how I am already, and then for me to be in charge of the whole system, it would definitely be a comfort for everybody, because you've been controlled by Stephen James, Lucifer. You've been controlled by him in this earth, and then I'm telling you that the devil is my father. You know, the fleshly father, not you know, my Father in heaven is a spirit. My fleshly father, yeah, all of our dads are. What I'm trying to say is, I'm your brother, because your father is the same devil that produced me. I just stuck up. I stood up to him, is what I did. And none of yous did until recently. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the book of Daniel, standing up to Nebuchadnezzar, because Nebuchadnezzar had to come down here and live like an animal for seven years. It's been 6 years, and almost 7 years is just about up. April 2nd, 2017, 24 for me. And that's just in time. It's 6 days before the second crossing of the solar, was it the lunar, solar total eclipse of the heart? And that happens with the X. So the planet X is supposed to show up before then, and it's right on time. The amount of Planet X videos I've done that prove transcending time, the past, present, and future moment all combined together, that's what that did. That's what it does. That's where this is. That's why it just doesn't even make sense that it's possible. I don't know how it is, but it is, because I feel like this is the first time I ever lived my life. Everything seems absolutely real with this avatar that I was given. I'm just an average guy. I mean, I'm a man, is what I am. I didn't go from male to female. I didn't die and come back here with an earpiece in my ear. But I think you guys are born that way. Maybe what it is my dad, he just cut off the communication and in my ear when I was born. Maybe it was taken out of my brain. Maybe we're all born with it, but it was taken out. That way I can figure this out on my own. Once I finally figure it all out, the keys are handed over, and then publicly I can start doing things where it doesn't even sound ridiculous anymore, because you've already seen the evidence. So that's why I believe Esau, his offering it was the pride, that what he was offering with it. And I don't know, Jonathan Kleck just seemed to handle it better, seemed to be more calm and loving and caring, and Stephen James was just like, I rebuke you, Robin Henry Tees. I'm tired of Robin's interpretation of Elijah. Robin, he's such a liar. He's such a liar. He's going to be slain. Anyway, well, it ain't like he was lying. I definitely was slain. That's for sure. I definitely got slewn. But considering the reason why Jacob, the deceiver, trying, getting all those to worship the first beast before him, whose deadly wound was healed, who sold him his birthright because he already knew he was dying anyway. I don't know if Jacob realized that, or he thought he can get away with it, but the same thing happens to him too. He also gets thrown into the lake of fire. The beast, the false prophet, they get thrown alive into the lake of fire. That's what happened. The dragon gave them their power. Right, Steve Benoon? Isn't that how this works? Did you say that Abraham, you said that, so apparently Jesus must have been talking to you if he said that he was talking to, if you're Abraham, he said, Abraham seen my day and was happy. And then they're like, you're not yet 50 years old, which means he was at least 40 something. And you said you seen Abraham destroy this temple, and in 3 days I'll be, what? It took 46 years. Well, it's going to take 3 days, a day is a year after that, to completely restore the entire world within 50 years. That's the goal. It's a 50-year process. Oh, and I never had a retirement fund, pension plan. Now I do. My retirement is happening now through the words that are coming out of my mouth. The best part about that is it's already been done, and what I'm saying already happened. It's already true to the masters of the universe. So here in Philly, that's where the mystery land of Israel is, because the landscape itself proves itself out. The Gaza Strip, where all the flags have been stripped away, where there used to be 100 and something flags, all nations. Even though this is where everybody's coming. They're coming back to Philadelphia. This is where it all began. Literally, it all began here in Philly. It's probably just an island that nothing else is around it, and considering they knew I would never leave here until I've conquered it, that they can just say all types of stuff, that there's an Israel somewhere and it doesn't even really exist, because I'll never go over there. Everybody else they'll say that they were there, but they're just gonna lie because they're all controlled by the devil. And I'm in the Truman Show, and you know, I'm living in a bubble. Everybody's a gang stalker besides Truman. Truman was born just like I was. He was a government agent baby, a test, a lab rat, ratting on his own system. Maybe I was meant to take over, but they were trying to get me to be evil, because they knew that by the time I'm 50 years old, the planet's mine, and I get to run it the way that I want to run it. And the devil, even though he knows my future, he's still going to try to... It's so crazy. You know you're going to lose, but yet you still do it anyway. You already watched the outcome, but yet you're still following through. It's because you already know the outcome, because you've already went through it, and then it was recorded, and then you played it back, and then you watched it, and then it's like a repeated cycle. Just like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then Moses, and then Aaron, and then Joshua. It's like a repeated cycle. The same characters, different timelines, or different times and periods of time. I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems like when you're Abraham, it's like you're Abraham, right? And then you have your Isaac, and then you sacrifice him, and then Isaac, and then he has Jacob and is Esau. And then once he has the Jacob and Esau, and then as soon as Jacob has his child, then it's like that person turns into Abraham, and then that cycle happens all over again. So then once you are Abraham, and then you have your son Isaac, and then your son Isaac winds up turning into Abraham, and then he has a son, and it's like a continuous cycle. And that's how you know the Bible so well, because you already have been that person, and then it's time to step down and become the next person. So in my opinion, I believe Isaac, when it says he was blind near his death, but yet Paul Tiller is saying that he still had 40 years to go, which could be 4 years to go until Esau is like, hey, Isaac, I'm the devil, so I'm actually your father. I mean, you're my father in heaven, but I'm your real, I'm, the devil. So it's like Isaac had Jacob and Esau, but he was younger than them? How's that work? And then he was tricked by Jacob, because Jacob was smooth. So it sounds like he tricked his father. It almost sounds like there was some kind of sexual relation going on there, or something unusual, that Jacob was deceiving his father because he was a smooth one, but then he was acting like he was Esau, because he wanted, I don't know why, you knew that you were going to die too, right, Jacob? Like, you knew that, like, your head was going to get crushed as well, but you just wanted to be like your brother, the devil, and act like you're Barack Obama, because he sold you his birthright, and then you had the right to be him as if you were birthed as Esau, but yet you were really birthed as Jacob because you were catching his heel, because he was the firstborn anyway. The older's going to serve the younger. Stephen James was first, even if he's younger in age than Jonathan Kleck's character. He's still first because he came in my direction first from the very beginning, and then Jonathan Kleck. And even in the Bible, that's how it works. The beast, the dragon. So I stood on the sand of the seashore, and I saw a beast rise from the sea, and he had a deadly wound, and his wound was healed. And then I saw a second beast rise up from the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, because his channel had two twin system there, because it's the three sea creatures at Logan Square. There's two females and then there's one male. And the second beast caused all those to worship SJD, because everybody thought that, you know, considering the second beast is really getting people to worship him, because he has Esau's birthright. That's why he's getting all the people to worship the first beast, because he's pointing in his direction as if that's him, but yet Stephen James is really Esau, the devil. The dragon gave him his power. So the dragon, the spirit of Satan, gave him his power, period. But maybe Steve Ben-Nun gave him his power because he's the father of all nations of the YouTube platform. I mean, I don't know. I know I'm close, and that's how I filter it out. I'll hit or miss and get it confirmed at a certain point. The Holy Spirit will teach me and say, this is it, Rob, and conclude it. There you go. This is what makes sense. Say that and see what sticks. That's how I get taught. So that's why the birthright was sold, because Jacob was trying to act like he's the devil, when really it's his brother. And Mystery Israel, it's right here. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by an army, you're going to know. When you see those twin towers go up in smoke, you're going to know. Unless they change their mind, of course. Green light, 7-Eleven.